Welcome back, guys, and hoping you guys are having a great new year for a start there. Okay, we're going to be doing a little bit of R&R. Yes, that's right. Rest and relaxation.
Yeah.
Well, let me give you a little background. Okay, we got the VW Jetta. It's got the VR6 engine. And the daughter was driving the car, and then the check engine light came on as far as being, you know, hot and everything, and she kept driving the car.
Of course.
She said it was right down the road. In turn, that popped off the nipple off of this here coolant pipe, which runs on the left side of the engine, and in turn that all the coolant ran out. So I'm just hoping there's not any other damage, you know, like a head gasket got cracked or head gasket problem. So we're going to just take it and see where we go with it. So in this process, in this video, or maybe several of them, I don't know how many, we're going to be replacing this here coolant pipe and the thermostat housing along with the thermostat, and also there's a housing for the thermostat. Well, first of all, I didn't know where the coolant was leaking at, so I put some water in it, and I cranked up the engine, got it in the garage, and when I got under there and looked, and there was just water just running all out on the left side of the engine. Okay, at the time I didn't know what it was. I could see up there, I could see the water coming out, but I could not even tell where it was coming at. So I got under there, pulled on the little things, pulled on the hoses, and I saw this here little coolant line that's coming from the oil cooler going up to this coolant pipe. This here nipple had just snapped off and broke off of this coolant pipe, aka crack pipe. I don't know if it's crack that you're smoking crack. You know, it actually might work out. I don't know, maybe a bomb might be a little better, but actually it cracks and the nipple will snap off. So all plastic for a coolant. Great engineering, what I call it. But in the process of looking this thing over, I just took and ripped the whole front of the car off.
Of course.
I felt like that's going to be easier to get up in there. And even still, to me, it looks like it's still going to be a pain in the ass to do this job. But anyway, I'll bring you guys along with me. And also, if you don't want to rip this car off the front of it, Thomas at EXOVCDS, he has a couple of videos for the VR6 engine code AFP, same as mine, 12 valve version, and he'll show you how to do it without taking the front off. I couldn't even believe it, even watching the video, that it could be done. Now, you know, he's up on a horse, so that might make it a little bit easier because, you know, he's looking up. But if you don't have a horse and you're laying flat on your back, I don't know, to me, I think taking the front of the car off is going to be easier. But I'm going to leave that up to you. I'll put the link for those two videos for Thomas so you can take a look at it and you can make your own decision. I've never done this job, so I'm going to be learning just right along with you. So we're just going to kind of look at this thing, you know, kind of see what we got to take off of here. Thomas, what he did is he took this here ignition coil off, and I kind of looking at it, and the only thing I can see to give you better access is to get into this bolt. One of the bolts is, this bolt is way back in there, and I know you ain't going to be able to see it, but it is way back up under here, and it's everything you can do to get your hand just to touch it. So it may be better to just take this thing out. That's just what I'm thinking. Get the ignition coil, get it out of the way, so we can get a little bit of access to there. We got to pull off this hose. We got to pull off 3 bolts for the thermostat housing. We got to take off, disconnect the ECT coolant sensor connector. This assembly slide out, and then we're going to be up here on the front of the car, and I'm thinking of taking the air pump out because it looks like the air pump is right there in front of this here coolant pipe assembly. So I'm thinking maybe I'll get that out, and then we can get a little bit of access in there, and then we can just slide this here coolant pipe out of the engine bore. It's over there on the block on the left hand side, where I'm pointing at, on this side over here, the front of the engine, I might say, right behind the water pump. Now, if you want to see what I did to get this off, I've already done some videos where I was working on a secondary air pump system. So I'll put a link in there for those videos if you decide you want to take the front of the car off. Just to get you up to speed of what I've done, there is a air intake hose that connects from here, goes down through this clamp, and it'll go down to the air pump. So I got that disconnected. And so what I'm looking at right now is I'm going to take this coil off, and right down in here you can see that this here assembly is right over top of this here ignition coil, and it also connects right down here. So I've already taken and separated that and just dropped it down. Already got the wires out. Okay, so those, we can just throw them on out of the way. And there is 4 socket head bolts, 5mm hex bit will fit those. So it's one over here, one underneath, one over here, and one down in there. You can see that this hose is connected there, so maybe what I'll do is I'll just go ahead and get this here hose clamp loose. Alright, let's go ahead and try to get this hose clamp loose here. Alright. That joker is slammed on there. Alright, with a little using a pick and getting in there and working around, I think we got it broke loose here. So I'm going to try to get this thing pulled off of here. Okay. That's that one. Alright. Here's these here's 2 of these here coil pack. These are socket head bolts, as I mentioned. They're 5mm hex bits here. Okay, now this one up here on the top is right in here behind this elbow, and I can't get anything in there because of this right here. Universal joint won't work, and I don't want to use a ball joint, a ball driver here. In fact, I did try it to start with, and then it looked like it's going to start to strip, which I do not recommend. So I'm thinking what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this assembly right here, and I'm going to just lift it on off of there. And it looks to me like if I can open that up and hopefully slide this assembly up. That is, if it ain't frozen down on there. Like this one here, this side here. Looks like it might be a little bit stuck. I put a little bit of K-roll fluid in it, kind of work it back. This one over here was a little frozen. So, alright, so now we can get hopefully a little bit more access to that bolt in there. Alright, I got in there with no problem. Alright, and right down beneath that, and I do not know if you'll see it. Yeah, maybe you can. If I can see it, then maybe you can too. There's another bolt directly underneath. Let's see if we can get to that one. Alright, I'm going to be screwing these bolts out, so I'll catch you guys in the next shot here. Now, before I take the bolts out, I see one other thing. I have this harness running across this top. It's going down in this channel. Now you can see that somebody's already been in here, because here's the clip. This here should be down inside the channel. You can see it was resting up there. So let me come back up here, see if we can release this. Okay, we got that one. Let me go ahead and open him up. Let's get him ready for when he goes back in. Alright. Looks like some of these tabs have been broken. We'll leave him connected for right now. Okay, so I'm going to go back now. I'm going to go and check those bolts out. So I'll catch you guys a little bit later. Alright, here's the 4 bolts coming out for the coil pack. You can see they're socket head bolts. Alright, now 2 of the bolts on the top had this bracket. This bracket was mounted right there right there in front of this here ignition coil. See if we can maneuver him out of the way without breaking our coolant hose assembly back in the back. Maybe I'll stick him, oh, maybe about right there. Now let's see if we can just swing this thing up out of there. It's a little heavy duty thing there. Got a big heat sink on the back. I'll just sit him right there. Okay, that definitely opens up things in there now. Alright. Okay, just to point out the bolts up here on the top side here for the thermostat housing, there's 3 bolts. Now we can get a pretty good look at it. You see where that bolt is, way back down in there? So I can kind of see now why that ignition coil's got to come out. Because, I mean, it's everything to get your hand underneath just can barely touch it, right? And I got the front of the car off so I can maneuver around in there and it's still tough. But it looks like right now we can get into there pretty good. Now the other 2 bolts is going to be one right here and the other one is right beneath it. So right there. Alright, I got the hose clamp back. And this one here wasn't too bad. It just twisted it and it broke loose. So we're just going to slide him off of there. And this hose clamp down here is a little bit inaccessible. So what I'm thinking about doing is, because of this right here, this harness, I think I'm just going to break these bolts off. It's on a bracket. These are also socket head bolts, 5mm hex bit. I'll take care of that. So we'll get this bracket out of the way and then we'll get a little more excess down here to this hose clamp. See if we can get in there. Way back up in there. That, I think, might be better. This is going to be one long bolt here.
Whoa.
Let's take a look at the lengths. Okay, they are the same length. Trying to get this hose clamp off now. Get this hose off this thermostat housing. Alright. Get all the excess out. So you can see how that's connected here to that pipe over there. So
What's in that one? What was that one?
this is a coolant.
Okay.
And of course we have some more plastic here. There's a T right there. Yeah. Alright. So now, let me get that other bolt back there in the very back. Let me go ahead and, yeah. See if we can get back up in there. Yeah, getting that coil out of the way sure makes a big difference in trying to get to that bolt. So I do recommend getting that coil out of the way. Alright, so there's the bolt length.
That's a tiny one.
Yeah, that's a shorter one. Still the 5mm hex bit will take care of that one. Alright, what else? Well, we got another hose hooked up on here. So we got this hose right here. See it right there? Where did they decide to put it? Yep, perfect. Right up underneath where you can't get to it. Oh my gosh. Wow. Oh my. Am I Gonna be able to get up in there. Maybe some channel locks may work better in there. Now why would somebody put a hose clamp way down here? Because you know they had to struggle to get the thing on there. So maybe that was done at the factory. The guy that put it on there, he said, I'm gonna fix them bastards, so he ain't gonna never get in there to it.
They want you to go to the dealership and get it
The engine is all outside of the car. Good gosh. I'm going to get this here hose assembly out of my way. I'm tired of it dangling in front of my face here. Alright, you going to be stuck on there? Well, of course you are. Alright. Okay. And we have another piece of plastic. Get in that bucket. Go find your home. So we got another piece of plastic right here. You know, like I said, you know, this might be good to replace all of this, but in my case, if it ain't cracked yet, I'm not going to worry about it. God.
Get it, Terry.
Yeah. Okay, so that hose is off of the thermostat. Well, it's loose. What else do we have? Oh, you can start to see a little something down in there. So I wonder if we can just go ahead and let this thing here. Oh, this crap right here. We're just going to have to work around it. And just see if we can pull it off of that coolant pipe. Okay, I'm looking at this here electrical connector, and I'm looking at these wires, and these wires are just twisted all the way around. So what I'm trying to do right now is I'm trying to twist this here sending unit. Let's get this tab up on the top somewhat. And that will actually, if I get a little more access to it, or the tab, and same time it'll untwist these wires. So it looks like,
There you go.
it looks like this has already been replaced before. I'll take a screwdriver. I was trying to do my fingers, but evidently I didn't have enough pressure. So I'm going to put a screwdriver to just push down on that tab.
Oh yeah.
And let's see if we can work them all. Yeah, I think the only thing that's holding this up now is this harness. Okay, guys, there's one of them. Oh yeah, starting to get some corrosion there. This is where that coolant pipe sits. It fits right in there. It's got like a pin on it, and it'll kind of a locking tab or whatever you might say, and it'll go in there. We'll see all that when we put this thing back together.